My name is Elena, 38 years old, a cybersecurity analyst at a tech company in Austin. My husband, David, and I had been married for 14 years. To everyone around us, we were the ideal modern couple. A sleek downtown loft, two thriving careers, weekend getaways to wine country. But that polished exterior was hiding something darker. I just refused to acknowledge it. That Tuesday evening, David was in his home office, the soft clicking of keyboard keys echoing through our apartment, a soundtrack to something that would change everything. A notification chimed from his laptop, carelessly left open on the kitchen counter. I'd never been the type to snoop through David's devices. Privacy was sacred in our relationship. But intuition, that sharp instinct you only trust when reality starts cracking around you, pulled me toward that screen. The notification was deceptively simple. Transfer complete. $50,000 moved to account ending in 7849. Confirmation ID, TX847291. Before we continue with today's story, if you're enjoying what you've heard so far, please hit that subscribe button. Every new subscriber helps me keep sharing these inspiring tales that touch your day. Thank you for your support. I stood frozen. $50,000? We had joint accounts, shared finances, complete transparency, or so I thought. I had never seen this account number before, yet here was David moving massive amounts of money in secret. My fingers moved before my conscience could stop them. The laptop was still logged in, password-free. As simple as I once believed trust could be. What I discovered was an entirely different world. Banking records, investment portfolios, cryptocurrency wallets, all hidden accounts spanning nearly 2 years. David wasn't just moving our money, he was systematically draining our savings, our retirement funds, even the emergency account we'd built for starting a family. But the most devastating discovery wasn't the missing money, it was where it was going. Every transaction led to the same recipient, Marcus Chen, David's business partner at their consulting firm. The man I'd welcomed into our home for countless dinners, who'd been David's best man at our wedding, who I thought was our friend. Transaction after transaction revealed the truth. David and Marcus weren't just business partners. They were lovers. And they'd been planning their escape together, funding their new life with money stolen from our marriage. I found hotel receipts from Chicago, San Francisco, Denver, all the business trips David claimed were for client meetings. Photos showed them at romantic dinners, weekend getaways, even apartment hunting in Portland where they planned to relocate their business and their relationship. The final blow came in a folder labeled New Beginnings. Plane tickets to Thailand for next month. 2 tickets, one way, under the names David Morrison and Marcus Chen. They weren't just leaving me, they were fleeing the country. Honey, have you seen my black notebook? David called from his office, voice casual and warm, like he hadn't just stolen our future and hidden a secret relationship for years. I closed the laptop carefully, burying the earthquake inside me. Check your briefcase, I replied, my voice steady as steel. That night, I lay beside him, back turned away, listening to his peaceful breathing while my mind raced like a trapped animal. How many times had I celebrated his successful business deals? How often had I praised his partnership with Marcus, believing their success meant our security? Now I knew every penny of that success was built on lies, and I was no longer the trusting wife. The next morning, I kissed him goodbye like always. Good luck with the Peterson presentation today, I said, and David smiled, completely unaware that I'd already seen their Thailand departure gate printed in black and white. Once he left, I picked up my phone and called my supervisor. I requested a week of personal leave. I needed time, not to cry, but to plan. I had spent 14 years being the perfect supportive wife. But now, I was going to be something else entirely. I sat at our kitchen island, staring at cold coffee, feeling hollow yet strangely focused. In less than 12 hours, the foundation of my reality had crumbled. But instead of collapsing, something sharp and calculating began taking shape inside me. I didn't want a confrontation. I didn't want to be the woman who screams and throws things, only to watch them disappear with our money anyway. No. If David and Marcus thought they could steal from me and vanish, they were about to learn they'd chosen the wrong target. As a cybersecurity analyst, I had skills they'd forgotten about, skills that would turn their own plan against them. I accessed David's laptop again, this time not as a heartbroken wife, but as a digital forensics expert. Every transaction, every hidden account, every secret communication. I documented everything with the precision of a federal investigator. But documentation wasn't enough. I needed leverage. I traced their money trail deeper, following digital breadcrumbs through shell companies and offshore accounts. What I found made my blood run cold. This wasn't just about stealing from me. David and Marcus had been embezzling from their clients for months, using our marriage as the perfect cover. They'd set up fake investment opportunities, phantom consulting contracts, stealing hundreds of thousands from unsuspecting businesses. And when the authorities inevitably came looking, David planned to disappear, leaving me to face the consequences as his unknowing accomplice. My hands trembled as the full scope of their betrayal became clear. They weren't just stealing my money and my husband. They were setting me up to take the fall for their crimes. That's when I made my decision. Instead of confronting them or calling the police, I was going to beat them at their own game. I spent the next 3 days becoming someone David had never imagined, a digital ghost moving through their systems, leaving no trace. I accessed their hidden accounts, decoded their encrypted communications, mapped their entire criminal network. And then I found their weakness. The Thailand escape plan required one final massive transfer, moving all stolen funds to an untraceable cryptocurrency wallet the day before their flight. They'd scheduled it for Friday afternoon, right after David's final client meeting, which was actually their goodbye lunch. But here's what they didn't know. I had admin access to David's laptop. Every password, every security token, every financial gateway, all accessible through systems I'd helped him set up years ago for better security. Friday morning, I dressed carefully in my best navy suit, the one David said made me look too corporate for weekend brunch. Today wasn't about brunch. Today was about justice. I arrived at their office building at noon, 45 minutes before their scheduled lunch. The receptionist knew me as David's wife, sweet, supportive Elena, who sometimes brought homemade cookies for the staff. "Is David in?" I asked with a warm smile. I wanted to surprise him before his big meeting. "He and Marcus just stepped out for coffee," she replied. "They should be back in 20 minutes. Perfect. I made my way to David's office, laptop bag slung over my shoulder. Looking like any other corporate spouse, dropping by for a quick hello. But inside that bag was a portable drive containing every piece of evidence I'd gathered, and a few digital surprises of my own. I connected to David's computer and began working with the speed and precision of someone who'd trained for exactly this scenario. Except instead of protecting systems from criminals, I was turning those same skills against the criminals themselves. First, I reversed their planned money transfer. Instead of moving funds to their escape account, I redirected everything back to the original victims, their defrauded clients. Every stolen dollar, every hidden transaction, all flowing back to where it belonged. But that wasn't enough. I accessed their encrypted communication system and found something that made me smile for the first time in days. Their entire criminal operation, documented in their own words. Confessions, plans, even jokes about how easy it was to fool their stupid clients and David's naive wife. I forwarded everything to the FBI's Financial Crimes Division, complete with timestamps, account numbers, and digital fingerprints that would make prosecution inevitable. Then came the final touch. I scheduled one last message to send from David's account at exactly 3 p.m., right when they'd be sitting in some restaurant, toasting their successful heist. The message would go to every client they'd defrauded, every business partner they'd betrayed, and me. It would contain a full confession, an apology, and instructions on how to recover their stolen funds. As I finished uploading the evidence, I heard familiar voices in the hallway. David and Marcus, laughing about something, were completely unaware their world was about to implode. I quickly disconnected my equipment and slipped out through the back exit, just as they rounded the corner toward David's office. By the time I reached my car, my phone was already buzzing with notifications. The automated transfers had begun. Every stolen dollar was flowing back to its rightful owners, leaving David and Marcus's escape accounts completely empty. At exactly 3 p.m., as I sat in a coffee shop across town, my phone chimed with David's confession message. I opened it, reading his own words describing their crimes, their betrayal, their plans to flee. Then I called the FBI. Special Agent Rodriguez, Financial Crimes Division. Agent Rodriguez. I believe I have information about a major embezzlement operation involving multiple victims and international money laundering. Ma'am, can you provide details about how you obtained this information? I smiled, watching police cars arrive at David's office building through the coffee shop window. I'm a cybersecurity analyst, and until today, I was married to one of the perpetrators. I have everything you need to prosecute this case. The next few hours moved like a perfectly choreographed operation. FBI agents, forensic accountants, digital evidence specialists, all descending on David and Marcus's carefully constructed criminal empire. By evening, both men were in federal custody. Their Thailand tickets worthless, their hidden accounts empty, their crimes documented beyond any shadow of doubt. I returned to our loft that night, not as a betrayed wife, but as the woman who'd single-handedly dismantled a criminal conspiracy and saved dozens of innocent victims from financial ruin. The next morning, I received a call from Agent Rodriguez. Mrs. Morrison, I wanted to personally thank you. Your evidence has given us the strongest financial crimes case we've seen in years. Those men won't see freedom for a very long time. What about the stolen money? I asked. Every penny has been returned to the victims, including the funds taken from your personal accounts. You'll receive full restitution within the week. I hung up and walked to the window, looking out at the Austin skyline, feeling something I hadn't experienced in years, complete control over my own destiny. David had tried to steal my money, my trust, my future. But in the end, his betrayal had revealed something more valuable than anything he could have taken. My own strength. 3 months later, I received a letter forwarded from David's federal prison. His handwriting shaky, desperate. Elena, I know I have no right to ask for forgiveness. But please understand, I never meant for you to get hurt. I was confused, scared, lost. Marcus convinced me this was our only chance at happiness. I read it once, then fed it through my paper shredder. Some apologies come too late. Some betrayals cut too deep for words to heal. But as I sat in my new apartment, a place David had never seen, could never touch, I realized something profound. His betrayal hadn't destroyed me. It had revealed who I really was underneath all those years of being someone's wife. I was Elena Rodriguez now, having reclaimed my maiden name along with my independence. A federal cybersecurity consultant, helping law enforcement catch financial criminals. And I was exactly who I was meant to be. 6 months after that devastating Tuesday evening, I received an invitation that made me pause. The Austin Cybersecurity Excellence Awards, where I was being honored for my role in exposing the Morrison embezzlement conspiracy. I almost didn't go. Awards ceremonies felt too much like the corporate life I'd shared with David. But my colleague Sarah convinced me. Elena, you saved 23 businesses from bankruptcy. You deserve recognition. So I found myself in a ballroom at the Four Seasons, wearing my mother's silver necklace and a black dress that actually made me feel powerful instead of performative. The presentation was straightforward. Agent Rodriguez explaining how civilian cooperation had cracked a case that might have gone unsolved for years. When they called my name, I walked to the podium feeling, not proud exactly, but complete. As I accepted the Crystal Award, I spotted a familiar face in the crowd. Marcus's sister, Amanda. Someone I'd known socially, whose brother had destroyed multiple lives. After the ceremony, she approached me quietly. Elena, I know this is awkward, but I needed to say something. I waited, unsure what to expect. When everything came out about Marcus and David, I wasn't just shocked about the crimes. I was relieved. Relieved? Amanda's eyes filled with tears. Marcus had been asking our family for money for months. Large amounts, always with some business emergency excuse. My parents almost mortgaged their house to help him. If you hadn't exposed everything when you did. She couldn't finish, but I understood. My pursuit of justice had saved more victims than I'd realized. Thank you, she whispered, for stopping them before they destroyed even more families. As she walked away, I felt something I hadn't expected, peace. Not the desperate peace of someone trying to move on, but the solid peace of someone who'd done the right thing at the right time. That night, I stood on my apartment balcony, looking out at the city lights, holding my award. It wasn't just recognition for solving a case. It was proof that the woman I'd become was stronger than the woman I'd been. David's betrayal had shattered one version of my life. But from those pieces, I'd built something better. Something that was entirely mine. I never saw David again after his arrest. Never wanted to. Some chapters end not with closure, but with the simple decision to stop reading. But I kept the Crystal Award on my desk, not as a trophy, but as a reminder. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the catalyst for becoming who you were always meant to be. I was no longer David's wife, Marcus's victim, or anyone's target. I was Elena Rodriguez, digital detective, federal consultant, and the woman who'd turned betrayal into justice. And for the first time in years, that was exactly enough. What do you think about Elena's transformation? Was her digital justice the perfect response to their betrayal? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to follow for more stories of strength triumphing over deception.